generally supposed. Howells wrote, if as little as a third of the children born reach the age of 5 years, it would not be a surprising. As he was driven along the streets of Batos, and as he boated past the wharf towns up a river, the then American President Franklin D. Roosevelt, said the depression leader who had worried at home about freedom from want, who had lamented in Forsyth charts about the unemployment, who had brought Americans a new deal to help provide for their basic welfare, cast his eyes on the human results of colonialism, and he was dismayed. Roosevelt wasted no time by telling Churchill about his views on Gambia and his newly focused of thinking on the future of the European empires. He brought it up in private conversations with Prime Minister in Casablanca, and at a January 22nd dinner he gave in honor of Sultan of Morocco, he spoke boldly about colonial hopes of independence and a post-war effort to end imperialism. Churchill and Augustin Nigost, the French President General in Morocco, could not help hearing Harold Macmillan regarded the conversation as equally embarrassing to the British and to the French, while the American diplomat Robert Murphy found Roosevelt's performance deliberately provocative. Some wondered if Churchill's our mood that evening might have been due more to the president's discussions with the Muslim Sultan than to the absence of alcohol at dinner. We have had, these are readings and these are comments by the then President of the United States of America, not from President Jammeh. Now, the question we ask ourselves is Gambia today better under President Jammeh or under the British Empire? The question is definitely no. In fact, it will be an insult for any Gambian or for anybody and for any descendant of colonialism to preach President Jammeh development, human rights, rule of law, good governance, and democracy. On the same books, President Jammeh also talks about the United Nations Security Council, the war in Palestine, the war in Syria, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, and the list goes on and on. Africa is the largest continent in the world, yet we don't have a single permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. And President Jammeh, he said, if his call and that of the African Union should be united to call on the United Nations and the world to recognize the legitimate right of the African continent to two permanent veto powers and members of the United Nations Security Council, and also full-fledged members of the rotating seats of the United Nations Security Council. His arguments are the United Nations should not continue to allow itself to be dictated by the world bulliest and the so-called policemen and champion of democracy to hide behind the United Nations Security Council and wage war on innocent citizens and innocent sovereign states in the world. The killing in Afghanistan, the killing in Iraq, the killing in Pakistan, the killing in other rich endowed mineral resources in the world is as a result of the failure of the United Nations to stand on its principal mandate as it was formed in 1945 to the maintenance of peace, to the maintenance of security, to the maintenance of law and order, and also to foresee the development of the world and all human race, and His Excellency's desire and his call that all nations are equal before the United Nations. All nations are equal before the UN Security Councils, irrespective of our size, irrespective of our color, irrespective of our region, irrespective of our geographical locations. These are the advocates of President Jammeh, and this is the reason why most Western puppets, as leaders of Africa and some part of the world, they don't like President Jammeh, because it is only a leader like President Jammeh who will stand at the United Nations Security Council or who will face any world leader and tell you the truth as it is on your face. Now, it is President Jammeh's right, and it is the right of us Africans to have a permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. He advanced many reasons. How many resolutions in favor of peace and stability in the world are blocked at the United Nations by so-called veto powers of the Security Council? Any resolutions that is in the interest of peace, that the so-called 5 permanent members will not have access to loot their oil resources in any country, they will block those resolutions. The so-called world powers, we have seen in Iraq, we have seen in Syria. President Jammeh continued to call on the barbaric government of Israel to abandon the continuous killing of the innocent people of Palestinians, hiding behind the name of religion, and to continue to terrorize the people of Palestinians as because they are Muslims. And that the greatest terrorists on earth is the Israelis. The greatest terrorists on earth is the Israelis. But today, if you are a Muslim, if you are a devout follower of Muslims and the teaching of Allah and the Holy Quran and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are labeled as terrorists. But Ariel Sharon, Benjamin Netanyahu, Sri Livni, and others, they continue to kill and expand their settlement, the legitimate right of the people of Palestine. And President Jammeh called for a 2-state solution and for the aspirations of the people of Palestine to be given access to their land and to have their permanent state as their rightful, and for all Muslims to be able to have access to the mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque in Israel, for lost to go and pay homage and pilgrimage as indicated in our religion, Islam. This is what President Jammeh is saying, and they are calling him as a dictator, as an anti-West. He is not. President Jammeh represents a beacon of hope not only for this country, and not only for Africa, but the world in general. And he continues to advocate for the interests of the people of Africa. It is our responsibility as Gambians and as Africans to support President Jammeh and to call on the United Nations for them to act on it. And he said at the 68th General Assembly that the Gambia and his country support the declarations for Africa to be equally represented at the Security Council. Or if not, the African Union as a bloc should form a unified and a formidable bloc. On that note, I want to thank you. I rest my case. Honorable Babugay Sonko and Mr. Pierre Minte will come and dwell in Mandinka and Wolof. And we will also give it opportunity for all of us. But we will circulate the books to you. And I want to urge all the youth leaders, women leaders, council of elders, councillors of the Kanafi municipal councils, to organize meetings at your various wards and the alcalos at your various jurisdictions to sensitize Gambians about these important books and the importance of the messages contained in, and for the people to know the British have not done anything.
Thank you very much, Honorable Alhaji Asidi Jai. Badingol miniano neko wolle be GRTS jube ka nyintembola seta don kal mume be kontong a kal al jayi fana hani sa don kam badingol min be ma be ta jang kal tentu kal jayi ale wato min ta kana ma be na bi banta ba programme o nyinto sanyin dong be minkela be Honorable Babu Gay Sonko sa be Mike Dila Wolla ka tandal la ko drong na bi banta ba be KMC janneto Honorable Babu Gay Sonko sain drong se kumo nyintui bulu
kumo sutiandi na drong be kontondiro for the Lord Mayor of the KMC Alaji Yankuba Koli and ala deputy and in councilors all mumbewe KMC ntebe to fono ba nim ko councilors drong ngabe male bulbe no jang ani haneka bi mulbe councilor yala ngalbe konton